Falcho de Vula. Kim a Hashiv. Kim a Hashiv. Nach chick sheep she pick in this Luya. Pick in this Luya. Would you please come in just a little bit more so we can be better connected here? Shisha. Wapu je belting. Gan Gael is Benachen de Beltine Adavula. Today is the first day of May, the lucky day of May, as we call it in Gaelic, and the blessings of the lucky day of May to all of you. Edawasha, Bishin the Saurachug Tashach and Tauri, Agus Kutchach Haklechki and Akin, Vadan Bishin Dolmach, Gus Jalftachud Ed Nuthanen, Agus Bishin the Benachug Natayan Akin, Agus Holotunius and Chawach, Le Ushka Kostrichtje. On this day, we go out, and some of you may have done this. People have asked me about it this morning. You go out early in the morning and you take the dew from the first dew on the ground. Everybody know what dew is, all the students? Yeah, my son didn't know what dew was, and he's 14. So it's the Jelft, it's the Gaelic word for dew, and you put that on your face, and we as Gaels believe that keeps us young. Keeps us eternally young. That's a wonderful, wonderful custom. And we also have another custom of blessing our homes and blessing our family members with holy water so that they have a good year ahead, a good summer season. This is the first day of summer. It doesn't quite feel like summer yet, but this is the first day of summer. Kietrot Amison Falchakut Odavula, is Kutach Amison Mahang, Asley Iomairtean the Gàidhlig Horskan Vipara. Blaze Terrio. So I want to thank you for coming and welcome you here. And also just want to recognize our piper, Blaze Terrio. Do you recognize Blaze? Attivello. Oh, Andras, Hamisha Dolokota Nanya Guiv, Brandon Mahguire, She Paul na Parliament Big Gahanan Brandon, Hayasha Asley Administer, Nakurin Gabi and Ashan Jew. I want to welcome and introduce Brendan McGuire, who is going to offer remarks on behalf of our minister, Randy Delory, who's unable to attend the launch this morning or this afternoon. And Brendan is a member of the Liberal Caucus and an MLA here with the legislature. Nakuchiv Falcha Ed Brendan. Would you please welcome Brendan McGuire?
How's everybody doing today? Good. I had to practice. It's Kimina Hashiv, is that right? All right. I only had to practice that about 15 times. Here we go. I do want to recognize a few people here. We have former Premier of Nova Scotia, Rodney MacDonald, so we give him a nice round of applause. Still looks like he's about 30. We got Minister of Lands and Forestry, Ian Rankin, and MLA Keith Irving. It's good to see everybody here today. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the traditional territory of Mi'kmaq people. So it is a privilege for me to join you on behalf of the Minister Delory today. We would not be here today, or who could not be here today, and sends his regrets, to launch the Gaelic Nova Scotia Month and celebrate its 23rd anniversary. Gaelic Nova Scotia Month is a time to celebrate and recognize the province's Gaels and their language, culture, and identity, as well as the many contributions that they make to the social, cultural, and economic well-being of our province. It is a time to acknowledge, value, and celebrate Nova Scotia Gaels, who add to our province's rich diversity. With origins in Scotland and connections to the language and culture to Irish Gaels, Nova Scotia Gaels are a unique people who possess a rich culture expressed through song, music, dance, story, humor, custom, and beliefs. The power of our songs is the theme of Gaelic Nova Scotia Month 2019. So it's Brina Bar. Does anyone know how to say that? Brina Bar? There we go. Thank you. A time for Nova Scotians to connect with their Gaelic language, culture, and identity. As a Gaelic society in Scotland was broken up during the 18th century and thousands of Gaels were evicted from their ancestral homeland, Gaelic song provided a central, creative, and moving way for a people to remain connected with each other and to their identity. This tradition of Gaelic song was brought to Nova Scotia by early immigrant Gaels. It encompassed all aspects of the human experience: joy, loss, sorrow, anger, praise, humor, and resilience, and was shared through many styles of singing, such as wort songs, portabal, is that right? I'm butchering it, I apologize. Portabile, which is moth music, big songs, lullabies, and laments. As Gaels face challenges in their own home, Gaelic singing continued to connect and unite them through a sense of shared identity and common purpose. 1/3 of Nova Scotia's population today can trace its ancestry back to early immigrant Gaels who arrived in Mi'kma'ki from the Highlands and Islands of Scotland. Descendants of these Gaels maintain a rich song tradition to this day that enriches Nova Scotia's collective cultural identity. So as we raise the flag of the Gaels, we see the salmon at the center of the flag, a symbol of the gifts of wisdom and knowledge in the Gaelic storytelling traditions. This flag reminds us all of the importance of sharing our stories through both word of mouth, song, and of passing of our knowledge through language and culture, and the rich expression of traditions these contains. So during the month of May, countless events will take place across the province, including educational incentives, concerts, gatherings, and presentations. These activities offer something for everyone, for all ages, for all backgrounds, who wish to enjoy, to learn more about Gaelic culture. The events will be listed online at the Gaelic Affairs website, and I invite all of you to check out the event calendar and seize every opportunity to discover or learn more about our Gaelic Nova Scotia. As a government, we are committed to sharing more of your stories. We understand the importance of reflecting on our shared history because it helps us understand who we are, where we came from, and where we want to go. So on behalf of the Minister of Gaelic Affairs, I encourage all Nova Scotians to join Nova Scotia Gaels as they celebrate and share the language, culture, and identity with us throughout the month of May and the whole year. So we are lucky today to have Kenneth McKenzie from the Gael Council with us, and we are pleased to announce that since they became available in 2018, 240 Gaelic plates have been issued right across Nova Scotia. The proceeds of these sales will help fund the further maintenance and development of Gaelic language, culture, and identity in Nova Scotia. Just a couple more pages left. I see the kids are getting a little antsy. This year, 400 students from Springvale and St. Mary's Elementary Schools are working with Siddle High Gaelic program students on weaving a milling blanket, learning Gaelic songs to accompany this work, and participate in a square dance. We welcome some of these students here today, along with their school principal, Vince McNeil, and Gaelic milling and song teacher, Mary McLean. So thank you to Principal McNeil and the Gaelic resource persons from all these local communities, the 2,000 students and their families who have been exposed to Gaelic language and culture in HRM through projects of this nature. So I will conclude by thanking and recognizing the many volunteers, organizers, ambassadors, teachers and educators, and the youth in the Gaelic community who work tirelessly to share and promote Gaelic language, culture, and identity in this province. So thank you to the dedicated Nova Scotians who continue to share and experience in the Gaelic language and culture and heritage. Thank you very much.
Guramaagav Brendan. Thanks so much, Brendan, and thank you for being here on behalf of the minister today and offering those remarks. Anisht hami son kurananya guiv kanyach makanyich sesan kennert the conward na Gaelic. Agus biesan akrang bekanachwin. I'd like to welcome now at this time Kenneth Mackenzie, President of the Gaelic Council of Nova Scotia, to offer a few remarks. Now, could you falcha it Kanyach? Would you please welcome Kanyach?
Falcha Ravula, as Kia Tang and Parliament Week, as immersed in the Gaelic, or Sancha Hudikela, as Misha Kanyach Mach Kanyich, as Semitalish de Visha, as Lake Cornland the Gaelic. My name's Kenneth Mackenzie. I'm very pleased to be here on behalf of the Council, the Gaelic Council of Nova Scotia. As Sheikh Gare Bree na Barstoch and Dula a hacking, a Mìos Shab, and Mir Santasha Huchley to the Becken Barstoch. Maravi Gino. This Vandana Guhar Salya, Hananaja Green, Havi Fallon your street the law, Skachni Fas Heen. That was a verse from a song that Alan the Ridge MacDonald composed here in Nova Scotia nearly 200 years ago. He wrote the song in response to one written by his fellow immigrant and cousin, Ian Shellacott, John the Hunter MacDonald. And John had recently arrived in Nova Scotia and had written a song with a fairly negative view of the land he found himself in. And as was common practice among the Gaels, Alan took offense and responded with this rebuttal through song entitled Maloch Alapanui in praise of Nova Scotia. These songs are nearly 200 years old and are still with us today. And that to me embodies our theme for the month this year, Brí na Barstoch, the power of our songs. At the very least, writing long, complicated, and beautiful songs sure beats a Twitter feud these days. And the verse I read tells his colleague and his cousin that since he's come over the sea to this beautiful place, he'll never lack for anything all his days, and that we have everything here that we need. So let's take that attitude as Gaels forward into Gaelic Nova Scotia month. As a midachas kamid jo via saking ulla.
Thanks so much, Kenneth, for those words. Gàidhlig. They're very wise. Onisht be Tokal Bratach nan Gàidheal hacking. We'll now have the raising of the flag of the Gaels. And Bishanagiri age Bull Conward and Gaelic, representatives of the Gaelic Council of Nova Scotia, to come forward. Kari Brendan Magura, Brendan Maguire, MLA. Agus Kutjach Vince McNeid, Maddie, Nich Gàidheal, as well as Vince McNeil, Mary McLean, Hedic Shias Ashin, to participate in Tokal Bratach nan Gàidheal, in the raising of the flag of the Gaels. Hey. Shenakava. Hi who's Iomairtean. It's raised now. And I'm back in the village in Pishinatolsteigen Paramajvik. In a few moments, we'll be going inside the Legislative Assembly. She wrote the hound, famous in Tolstei, from Atchafadavan the Garta now, and we have to go through the security. So just a point about the security, all of the students, you don't have to worry about going through security, okay? Students, what did I say? Kalevan. All right, well done. So, for students, maybe the students can go through first, but they're going to give us a Gaelic song that they've learned with their instructor, Maddie McLean. Then after the students, everyone else, if you could please file through. And the only thing, once you get through there's an x-ray machine. If you just move away from the end of the x-ray machine to make sure that there's space for others coming behind you. Leva? Okay, so inisht be auranakin agus hamadi dolegal lakin. So we're going to have a song from the students from Springvale and St. Mary's Elementary Schools, and Mary McLean is going to take the lead on the song. Vilshir Jeshal. Kaleva.
Okay, Jeshal. Shano. Good amula dacha mismi arari chrivanya Shane ahoro Shane. Good amula dachski mismilam hin and cheer manual Shane. Aun en ellen en lautak farm poskach kalak Shane ahoro Shane. Aun en ellen en lautak farm poskach kalak Shane ahoro Shane. Shepel hapachuin urge shepe doen ki barach. Shane ahoro ruri be the new soler do vanish. Shane. Shane ahoro horen mit chirnen gorem hulen mawach. Skethnak be mi gain she saunen ila hamol lenen. Oh Shane. Skethnak be mi garach and hook me graguts me lenov Shane ahoro Shane Shane aho Shane ahoro Shane Shane ahoro Lennon Shane ahoro Shane Shine. Oden tang.
Tapal of Gamod, Havadi, Agus Tapalish Niskullet, and let's hear it for the students. So, as they Iomairtean na Gàidhlig, on behalf of Gaelic Affairs, Iomairtean Mahanga Horsclavis and Cheen, Gutchinach Bishabula Fudach, Ach Hafalcharon Vanish to be Dolsteg and Faromatvik. So perhaps not everyone will be staying, but those who are, you're more than welcome to now proceed into the Legislative Assembly, and just be mindful that we do have to go through security. So, Hishinshiv Tivistay na Faromatvik. We'll see you inside the Legislative Assembly. Oh, Tapalavola, Hashiv Shadabi Khofai Chinuk Sagas. Thanks very much for your patience getting into the legislature. Anisht be Tashpanug Gade Chakinya, Agus Hami Dolakodanenya Guiv and Co Pricha Akamhin, Frangak Nikachan, Ik Officimersten the Gaelic. So we're going to have a brief, short presentation on this month's theme. And I'm going to welcome Frangak Nikachan, Francis McCacken from Gaelic Affairs. So would you please welcome Frangak?
Fesca Magaeve, a Harston, and a hash of Ula. Gama, Cleva, Shinshapane. I'm just, the Gaelic bards, I'm going to speak a little bit about our theme, Brina Barsach, and I thought to begin, I thought it'd be good to keep in the tradition of the Gaelic bards. Often when they began a song, they would begin by stating where they were and how they were feeling. So in that spirit, I'd like to say that we are here in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and that I think we're all really happy to be here to launch Mìos nan Gàidheal, the month of the Gaels. And to begin this presentation, I think I'd like to take you back about 1,600 years to a room in Ireland where St. Patrick is speaking with Oisín, who was the last surviving member of a band of Gaelic warriors known as Iomairtean. And St. Patrick and Oisín are debating the merits of paganism and Christianity. And Patrick asks Oisín to tell him a story of the hardest battles the Fenians ever fought. And Oisín begins to sing him a ballad.
Annai chai Patrick Navo Vasur te chedem said all a kind te Oisín a fein soundless pavio a lady a heinous na salim Lomgar bat a hiel na heistug tu tamorim skiel an yen na hoterie Chanish mi tamorin skiel an yen na hoamirium Was na salam fel ma vel gamber shut a yaw ma sound a hug the halem feinid in adem noch a chledig ra hanig lumhin Nach skad in de helm van haar. O shet o vehama roye. O het hoerst hanik shin. Den fabe roye saro en yin. An a yen uri heva wadek. Of Oisín was having Gaelics, Hatanik and Tawak Narkar, Gafach Oisín Yami Lavat, Erendrai Artachadach, Machri Walkwin Vashin Etra. Jefa vi Gàidhlig at the gava hommel te jung
gon ághain sa chúthairs leis. A ríthe tucain sa mabhain, dóine hafan gréin, hatán me se bran gawabra, gus an jake ambas adam heen. An naiche hai padrek na vúr, bas úrt in tirim said all, a kind Hashen na féin soundlish beveen you.
Happily, Laden, that should erachgal. This epic poem, which is called a lay, and which is older than Beowulf, would often be sung as an interlude in a long story about the Gaels' heroes and their exploits. Lewis sang a version of this song which was collected from Angus MacIsaac in Giants Lake, Guysborough County in 1953 by John Lorne Campbell of Scotland. Writing in his book, Songs Remembered in Exile, Mr. Campbell said that finding this relic of an ancient tradition in Nova Scotia when no one had been able to sing it for me in Scotland was a matter of great interest. And this was only one song in Angus MacIsaac's vast repertoire, and Campbell regrets that he did not have more time to record them. Angus MacIsaac probably couldn't read or write Gaelic, but this is no measure of his intelligence, considering his capacity to retain and memorize thousands of lines of poetry, and he was one of countless tradition bearers here in Nova Scotia at the time. The song and the story behind you gives you an idea of the depth and the breadth of the Gaelic song tradition in Nova Scotia and how valuable it was to Gaels who passed it down through the generations to the present day. So why were Gaelic songs so important? To answer that, I'm going to take you back to Ireland and Scotland in the Middle Ages and to Europe's earliest universities known as bardic schools. And here, the Gaelic elite would send their heirs from November until May, where they would receive rigorous training in language, historical lore, and poetic meter. And the bards wrote in classical Gaelic, which, along with Latin and Greek, was one of the earliest written languages in Europe. And the bards were needed to record and sing the praises of their clan and their clan chief. And they had high status in Gaelic society and were well supported. So when the bardic schools were legislated to close in the 17th and 18th centuries, with an intention to replace Gaelic with English, it led to the decline of this Scotland's literate Gaelic aristocracy. And so classically trained professional poets lost their support. And this was devastating for the future of Gaelic-centric education. However, the training and the education of this class of people was absorbed by the common people in the communities throughout the Highlands and Islands of Scotland, and it led to a new age, a golden age of poetry in the 18th century. So during this period, the Gaels in Scotland in the 18th century, they sang about their attachment to their land and their people. It was a tumultuous period. So they sang about the Jacobite uprisings, the devastating defeat at Culloden, the ensuing occupation of the Highlands, the more acts and legislation against the Gaels' language, culture, and way of life. There was new land management, there's the clearances, immigration, and loss. So there's a lot going on. And often what is expressed by a subjugated people in their own language is contrary to what you would read in official documents, probably written in English. And so in order to understand the Gaels' historical experience, you need to look at the songs. And thankfully, there are people like John Lorne Campbell who had collected these songs, who wrote books and interpreted them so we can better understand our own history. So among the tens of thousands of immigrants to Nova Scotia were significant Gaelic bards, important bards who composed songs on the eve of their departure, on the ships as they crossed the Atlantic, and as soon as they arrived. Dal and Goa Chisholm, a blacksmith who emigrated from Strathclyde to Lower South River, Antigonish County, thought he would never leave his home, but he left as an old man because he was tired of the greed. He said the greed of the landlords and the betrayal of the clan chiefs in his home. Bard Machgilane, John McLean of Tyree, who emigrated to Pictou County, he lashed out at the betrayal and the loneliness and the difficulty of settlement in his powerful song, A Chaya Gruamach, the gloomy forest. The emigrant songs were full of kianos, the sadness for the people they left behind and their homeland. And I'm sure the fact the Gaels followed a pattern of chain immigration where they settled with their own people really helped with their transition. So reputedly, the first song composed in Nova Scotia was O Sally nan Tacha, Fair is the Place, composed by Michael Mór Macgon when he wintered on the shores of Juddick in Inverness County in 1775. He's full of hope and imagines building community there with enough to eat and someday to hear the music, the fiddle and the pipes, and people visiting each other. As the Gaelic settlements grew, the language and culture flourished, and they continued to compose songs and also sing songs that their ancestors brought with them from Scotland. Every Gaelic community had at least one bard. They expressed the life of their community through song, elegies to praise and remember, songs to celebrate the beauty and kinship of home, to express humor, satire, religious devotion, love, to chronicle local events and the changing times. And the songs were an internal record of the life of the people, and therefore are an important part of Nova Scotia's intangible heritage. There were likely thousands of songs composed, and thankfully, because of the efforts of Gaels and who published books and collected the songs and published books and newspapers, some of the local songs and those composed in Scotland are still sung today. And now I would like to call on Shay McMullen, Caveli. She's going to sing a song that was composed by Benny and Ruari. Ichilewan. Jane Tanya Bavadi as a.
It's not known.
Oh, Kersh. Well, often the women poets were just known as the wife of John Rory. We don't even remember their first name, which tells you a little bit about the times, sadly. But she was a well-known poet in her area, and. In this song, she just talks about she's an elderly lady and she's out collecting firewood, and she falls and she's badly injured. And she reflects in the song about this, she's alone and on her own immortality. And it was recorded by Seamus Watson from the singing of Peter McLean, who was also from the rear of Christmas Island and whose mother learned a lot of songs from her. And Shay was good friends with both of these men, and she's going to sing this song today. Was het weg? Wil jullie kwijtschelpen? No, ridiculous.
I know there's a few people who know this song, so you can join in on the chorus. And I'd like to mention Benny and Ruari. She was a Boundonawalk. She was a MacDonald before she got married, and as the verses of this in the story continues in the song, she's praising the MacDonalds. Spec and chian gavi tursak an endar shak fuak na doak sawa hai mi far and dorn haro dula mavi bel va mi ride gesundak va mi ride gesundak va mi shagu kriel sundak hape luna rain meal. Like shit the mention sago bolach felt ma king and a gawava oleg ma chreva chor voa batoyach skug I am en fell en yor va mi ride gesundak va mi ride gesundak va mi shagu kriel sundak hape luna rain me out. O'r mi a fwlio wars sa cramis fa mi torum Tapan gant o'r a honig mi mag ma vraher wot ik yn crag a van am gorn Va mi roi'r gysundag va mi roi'r gysundag va mi siag o creel soon Ha belwn a rain mi al Dan a week na'n rhys na'n crwnch yn sawn as the real week magynias at the vis yn yuri ydyn bi ar ifa wach sy'n orn. Va mi roi'r gysundag, va mi roi'r gysundag, va mi siag o creel soon. Ha belwn a rain mi al. Va mi roi'r gysundag, va mi roi'r gysundag, va mi siag o creel soon. Ha belwn a rain mi al.
Happily Vaheak, Irish scholar Brendan O'Monaghan wrote that the bards were concerned with giving heightened artistic expression in song poetry to the full range of feelings and emotions of ordinary life in the community so that neighbors could identify with the songs and savor them. And savor them we do. And songs were still and still are enjoyed communally in the Cayley House or Visit, where people gather and expressions of culture, whether it be conversations, stories, some music or dance. Certainly that was so strong in days gone by, but still happens to some extent. And as we were doing with Shay, sometimes songs are sung with but one person singing the verses and other people joining in on the chorus. It definitely helps to lift the spirit and encourage the person singing and give them a break on the chorus as well. So, but people love to sing songs alone and still do. Specific songs were composed to accompany everyday activities such as spinning, weaving, rowing, milking. People sang when they were working or walking on the road, and I remember even going out and walking and hearing people singing from the veranda of their houses, and that was very common at one time. So for many Gaels, particularly those who lived in an intact Gaelic community where everyone spoke the language, and Dr. John Shaw felt that a lot of the people he met years ago, they sort of had an internal dialogue going on for much of the day that he thought which would have been songs, and thinking about the songs, going over the songs and the people and the stories behind them. Dr. Shaw had collected a lot of songs from Gaels here in Nova Scotia in the 1970s, and he said that the Bard's primary concern was articulating the perspective of friends, relatives, and neighbors who made up their immediate social world, and they were much less concerned with their own individual expression. So perhaps Gaelic songs are our gift from our ancestors in a world where we crave community and connection. So as Bard MacLean said, after he settled and got out of the gloomy forest and was he was among his people and composing other songs, he said, he composed a song with the first line, Bia Veutrams Tokub Faun. So be merry and sing a song. Tapali Vula, and I hope you really enjoy Mìos nan Gàidheal.
Thanks so much, Francis. That was wonderful. Tapla san Jean, Hayak, Tapla san Jean and was. I is Shinakav parsed Faramal yen wa and you. Be strupak akin. I guess be kel akin. Apis alien. Spiet the Shane Namvilen achka. I guess Jidach Hami Asley Emerson the Gaelic Affairs and Mahang Horse and Jean. So want to thank you all for coming. We're going to have some refreshments. Please stay and join us. We have some music, Abby and Ailey Hansen on fiddles, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon here at Province House, I think you're welcome to stay in the foyer here for the next little bit. I guess tapal of Kutjach, tapal of Shaskipa, ik Ledge TV, I guess, well, Henny Ledge TV, she Conatug na Halpanoia, Communications Nova Scotia and the team there for the production here today. Tangvod, would you recognize them as well, please? Ruth Miedig ha poster an gan Vias, agus she Brí na Bartach mar a thuair Frangach, agus bha Frangach gomór asas ounce of foster an bliana. So we have posters for the month, Brí na Bartach, and we're translating that as the power of our songs. As you know, Francis, who presented, was very much involved in taking a lead on developing the poster. We do have copies of the poster in English, Gaelic, and French on the far side of the foyer here. So please take posters with you if you have areas to put them up where you live or where you work. So, tapal of, I guess, half out of be Thank you. We have refreshments.